It's a sad state of affairs, ladies and gentlemen, but it could be easily fixed if people would simply just take the time to look around them and to look at what's going on. I even saw a report on the news today where they were talking about how that the latest tests have shown that there's no benefit in eating organic food. There's no more nutrients, or it's not any better for you than any of the chemically grown, genetically modified food. So it just goes to show how much disinformation is really out there, folks, when they're actually going to go on television and they're going to say that right there in bold view. Well, I mean, need I say any more, folks? I mean, how can you be bothered listening to anything these idiots on these television sets tell you? They are, well, I don't know, they defy analysis, folks. I mean, idiots is probably too strong a word. It's probably too meaningful a word for them. They're simply scripted fools. I don't know. Like I said, they defy analysis. At least research what people tell you, folks, and that goes for what the news reports tell you as well. You should research this stuff before you just go blindly believing what the television tells you. Because if you research, what you're going to find out is a conflicting story. I mean, 90% of the time you find a conflicting story. They're very clever the way they do it. They weave the lies in with little bits of truth to make it believable, but it's just all rubbish, folks. Nothing that they tell you is based on fact. So the world's in a very precarious situation, folks. All of our Western societies are in a very precarious situation. We do need to take the matter in hand. It is to be hoped that this illegal action that's been started by Jane Burgermeister, that is being fired up by other people, may give us a foothold to be able to stop the mandatory vaccinations that are coming. And the ideas that were suggested earlier about mailing soldiers and mailing police stations and joining the Facts to Stop the Vax movement and all of these sorts of things, these are all great ideas, and these all need to be supported by the people, by any concerned people. You really do need to get out and support these movements, folks. This is grassroots action that requires the participation of the citizens to make it work. So get out there and support it, because these people are going out on a limb for you. They're going out there, they're putting themselves on the line, their time on the line. They're doing everything in order to try and wake people up and do something positive to save our societies, because our societies are heading to a bad place. And we don't have to let them go to this place. They could be going to a very good place. And it would be very simple to have them going to a good place. But unfortunately, there is a criminal cabal that is in charge of all of our Western governments, and we need to address this criminal element that exists in these places of high office. They exist all around the world. This is a global network, but it's a very small amount of people, so it is possible to address this situation. They know that people are waking up to what's going on, and so they're running pretty scared at the moment, which is why this pandemic is being released. They're trying to cull the population while we're still in a manageable state, and they want to reduce it enough to keep it so it's fully manageable all the time. That's the plan, folks. And there's even more sinister things that we won't go into right now, but that is a main part of the plan, folks, and this includes all of us. We're all part of this plan, and we are all at risk from this plan. So we all need to stand together and address it as a unified family of humanity, because that's what we are. Well, we're coming up to a break, folks, and so we'll go to a break, and I will talk to you in a few minutes. Well, welcome back, folks. It probably seems pretty overwhelming to a lot of people hearing all of this stuff about bioweapons being released by governments and charges being put against the WHO. And it's very hard to come to terms with a lot of it for a lot of people. it's very hard for even people who are aware of the things that I talk about on this show. It's very hard for them to spread the news to others. It's very difficult to walk up to someone and basically tell them that everything they thought was true about reality is completely fake. And there's no reason to find frustration when you're doing this, folks. I mean, that's one of the things that makes it very hard for people. They simply feel like they must wake up others. They must wake up people around them. And it is good to do that, and it is good to spread the information, but you can't be too frustrated at those around you who just refuse to wake up. At the same time, I mean, you've got to have a passion for this. I mean, I talk about it a lot. I talk about how you've got to get out, you've got to spread the word, you've got to wake people up. But I do that not out of desperation, but I do it out of love. I just love you all so much, I really do. I believe that there are a number of different realities that the world is heading to. There are 6.7 billion people that live on this planet. And so the way I see it, there are 6.7 billion possible futures that we could go to. It depends on which one we choose to go to. There are 6.7 billion parallel realities that are sitting in existence right there waiting for us all to enter right now. There's one for each of us, or there's one for all of us. I really believe it depends on what each of us chooses to manifest through the changes that are coming. A lot of society is going to be headed for a really bad place because of what is going on with all of this totalitarian police state that is growing all around us. But there's a lot of other people who simply aren't going to manifest that type of reality. They're just going to be in a completely different place. And the more people that we can get to understand that, then the more of the collective consciousness makes it to that better place. And this isn't anything New Age that I'm talking about here. I'm just talking about the different possibilities that we have open to us. You see, because the ones that make it to the better place aren't going to make it to the better place by simply sitting around and hoping to manifest a perfect reality. The way they're going to make it to the better place is by understanding their sovereignty, by understanding who they are and what they are, and the power they have to address the situation that is before their eyes to address. Because that's all it is, folks. It's just a situation. Everything that's happening is just a situation. Everything's a situation. You look at it and you see the effect that this situation has had, and so you address the cause of the situation so you can change the effect, because it is the effect of the situation that we are in that is what we are facing as our reality. So we need to deal with the cause. A lot of New Age people will sit there and say that the negative stuff that we talk about with the New World Order and the things that are coming, they say, well, why are you manifesting this? Why don't you just forget about it? Because if you forget about it, you won't manifest it. But then they look up in the sky and they say, oh, look, they're out spraying chemtrails again. And they don't understand. Well, they're sitting there breathing this stuff. They're looking up and there's chemtrails in the sky, and they're acknowledging that there's chemtrails in the sky. But at the same time, they're saying, if they acknowledge that there is a New World Order and they're releasing a flu virus and a contaminated vaccine, well, they say, well, you know, this is manifesting a negative reality. And you can look up and they can acknowledge the chemtrails. See, it's a double standard. It doesn't make any sense. they're just saying, well, I'm going to have a different effect if I ignore the cause rather than fix the cause. See, this is what a lot of these movements have trained people to do. They've trained people to be, well, basically apathetic. A lot of religion has trained people to sit and wait for the Saviour to come and save them, rather than doing anything to fix the cause. A lot of spiritualist New Age movements have been taught to sit there and focus on what's positive and don't look at the negative, and it will just go away. Again, they're not addressing the cause. They're expecting a different effect, but they're not addressing the cause.